What memories?
Oh, do you mean the 2017 second round matchup against the Blues on the way to our very first Stanley Cup final?
No. It reminded me, and it should remind the fan base, that next to Chicago and Dallas, St. Louis should be right up there in teams that we hate the most. Maybe even more than Pittsburgh.
Everybody's hands go up, way up, as the Nashville Predators defeat the St. Louis Blues by a final score of 6-3 Thursday night inside Bridgestone Arena. On the back of a 44-save performance by one UC Saros. Yes, I didn't misspeak there. He didn't have a shutout, but UC Saros was forced to make 44 saves. Roman Josi's 20th goal of the season. Anthony Beauvillier's first goal as a Pred since being acquired from the Blackhawks. And 2 goals by Prince Philip. This team took one massive step closer to punching its playoff ticket. For the last time this season, and I mean thank God the last time this season, as we know only one of these two teams is making the playoffs, the Preds and Blues are playing for the last time. Preds going for the regular season sweep. Preds' magic number coming into this game is now down to 8 points, meaning any combination of 8 points earned by the Preds in addition to 8 points lost by the Blues guarantees the Preds are playing hockey past their regular season finale against Pittsburgh on April 15th. And right off the hop, the Bridgestone faithful wouldn't have to wait very long for something to celebrate in this game. Less than 30 seconds in, Blues pitching a little too deep, a little too early, and the puck comes out. Ryan O'Reilly gets it to Roman Josi, the captain, who goes in on a 2-on-1 into the Blues zone. He's got Gustav Nyquist with him. Roman Josi decides to keep it. He waits, and he snaps it past Jordan Binnington. 31 seconds into the game, this Bridgestone faithful is fired up as the Preds, right off the dot, get that 1-0 crucial lead to fire up the team and the fan base. Roman Josi's 20th goal of the season, his second 20-goal season, tying him with only Shea Weber for defenseman in Preds franchise history to reach such a feat. That is how you start a crucial game when you're trying to chase down and stamp down a playoff spot. Just over 4 minutes in, though, Colton Sissons is assessed a hooking penalty. And though the Blues set up well, a tale of the tape that will repeat again and again and again in this game is the Preds penalty killers did great. Great like they did against the Bruins, and much better than they did against Colorado last Saturday. And something that I hope you notice, because I noticed on that penalty kill, something to look forward to in the future, in the upcoming playoffs, you would assume, as long as the Preds don't choke, and in future seasons, Spencer Stastny, when this team needed to the most early, he did great on that first initial penalty kill. Unfortunately, about 7.5 minutes into the first period, a tale of the tape for that first period, because the Preds overall would start off slow, a very sloppy play, a lot of turnovers, and Saros was keeping him in early, but he can't stop this one as Brandon Saad and Robert Thomas play give and go. Brandon Saad finishes it off and ties this game at 1. It appeared in a moment that Andrew Brunette might have challenged that for goalie interference, as Jake Neighbors had bumped into UC Saros, but upon review shown on ESPN Plus, perhaps Bruno was concerned that they would have called it a goal because Roman Josi kind of bumped Neighbors before he went into Saros, and if he had been wrong, the Preds would have been on the instant penalty kill. In retrospect, it was the right call, along with another lineup decision and call that Bruno would make later in the game that I will address. Jason Zucker, right after the tying goal, had a partial breakaway. He nearly gave the Preds right back the lead. We've got to the halfway point of this first period. Preds still playing sloppy, but Saros is bailing them out, keeping them in the game that they will thank him for later. I don't know who got the belt after this game, but I certainly hope he was in contention. 6.5 left to go in the first period. Blues bringing the pressure, bringing the manpower right in front of Saros' kitchen. Puck is loose, but finally Saros is able to cover it up and catch a breather. About 5 minutes left to go in the first of, I believe, 2 4-on-4 situations, as post whistle, Ryan O'Reilly and Torrey Krug both get called for slashing each other, as the refs don't want to take sides and don't want this game to get out of hand either. Still feeling the heat, feeling the pressure, as 3 minutes remain in the first period. Whew, I said in a moment on Twitter, if the Preds had played like this against the Bruins, the way they're playing against the Blues, they certainly wouldn't have been scoreless after 1 in that game. Blues try to bring the pressure one more time. About 45 seconds to go in the first period. Jake Neighbors goes backhand but can't beat the post behind Saros that saves his bacon. First period eventually comes to an end. We're tied at 1 after 1, and only by the grace of number 74 UC Saros, the Preds are being outshot 2-1 margin, a total of 20-10 after 1. But where it counts, the Preds are still in this one, tied after 20 minutes. Early in the second period, Preds would get rewarded early with the Blues' mistake of Brandon Saad slashing Philip Forsberg. And hey, here's a little something we haven't seen in a while from the Preds. Preds keep the puck right off the faceoff the entire time in the Blues zone. Puck comes around. Gustav Nyquist gets it over to his Swedish compatriot Philip Forsberg, and he comes in and he wades and he wades and he flicks it and snaps it past Bennington. It's in the net. Preds reclaim the lead. Philip Forsberg's 42nd goal of the season, getting him one closer to the franchise lead. But more importantly, the Preds have retaken a lead, now leading the Blues 2-1. 25 seconds so after retaking the lead, the Preds PK unit will be called on once again, as Keith Sherwood gets called for cross-checking Torrey Krug. Now, can the Preds penalty kill be as clutch as the Preds power play just was? Preds doing well killing off, and also come very, very close to extending the lead right then, as Philip Forsberg, as part of a 2-on-1, nearly gets his second of the game right there. But we play on, Preds still up by 1. Preds seem to have some inspiration now. They're playing much better. Not as great as we'd like them to, but a lot better than they played in the first. They're giving it right back to the Blues. And by the end of the second period, are only outshot 14-10. So I'll consider that a win. But we still got some more to get there before the second intermission. Shortly after the 2-on-1, the penalty expires. Play comes the other way. Blues with numbers now. Pressure, as Saros has to go from here to make a stop, and the puck is passed over, and you think it's going to go into the net, but somehow, someway, Saros is able to push himself over and stone Torpachenko of the Blues with his pad. What a save by Saros, his save of the game. And with about 6.5 played in the second period, it's McCarron who beats Bennington but can't beat the post. And Big Sexy's like, don't worry, I'll get that one back later. Like I said, about the halfway mark of the second period, Preds playing much better, but they need to relieve the pressure from their goalie. Just under 8 minutes left to go in the second period. Alexander Carrier takes an offensive zone high sticking penalty. You don't want to take penalties like that in the offensive zone. But fortunately, Preds penalty kill comes through again. It wasn't perfect, as I will get to in the third period, but it was the best it's been in over a week. On that penalty kill, Blues giving the chances right back to the Preds. Lazy clear allows Roman Josi a chance to extend the lead to 3-1, but he can't beat Bennington. After another successful kill, just over 4 minutes left to go in the second period, Blues have a 2-on-1 as Ryan McDonagh races back, waiting and waiting. Blues probably in that moment hang on to the puck a little too long, and Ryan McDonagh is able to successfully break up the pass. No threat needed against the Preds. Disaster averted, and the Preds play on, still up by 1. Now this is where it appears to get a little dicey. Just under 4 minutes left. Luke Schenn takes out Jordan Kyrou behind the Preds net. And at first glance, before I saw the replay, I thought, oh no, please don't get tossed. Please don't put us down to 5D for the rest of this game, because I'm not quite sure just yet that the Preds are in firm control of this. But upon review, Jordan Kyrou was already going down. Fortunately, the refs called the 5 at first, which allowed them to review it, because for some reason you can't review penalties if it's under 5. The refs review it, make the right call in this game as compared to the Colorado game that got McDonough tossed, and it's reduced to just a 2-minute boarding call. Hey, the way the Preds penalty kill has been up to this point, I'm a lot more relaxed. Blues keep the puck during that power play almost the entire time in the Preds zone, but again, another successful Preds penalty kill. And soon after, the Preds earn a power play of their own. Perhaps a momentum swing coming here. Over 30 seconds now left to go in the second period. Play in the blue zone. Preds on the power play. In down low in Binnington's crease. You've got Luke Evangelista who bats the puck up and tries to get some sort of action where maybe it deflects into the Blues net. Gustav Nyquist gets the rebound caused by Evangelista. And guess who's right there on the doorstep to make no mistake? It's Anthony Beauvillier. Remember, wearing Tom Fitzgerald's number 21. And he puts the puck into the back of Binnington's net. His first goal since being acquired at the trade deadline by the Preds from the Blackhawks. And more importantly, Preds now lead the Blues 3-1. And hey, I can't argue when it worked. I know some Preds fans on Twitter were upset that Cody Glass was scratched in this game in favor of Beauvillier. But hey, Beauvillier scored, making Bruno look like a genius again. Final seconds of the third tick down. Huge goal by Beauvillier, giving us all a lot of confidence in attendance or watching at home. Preds leading the Blues 3-1 after 40 minutes. And yes, this game was an ESPN Plus game. I got nothing to complain about with the broadcast. But with this being game 76, I could have very well used Bowie Sports to have Skilsky, Hal Gill, and C-Mace Chris Mason with their classic second intermission motivational speech when the Preds have a lead to relax me going into what will be a stupendous third period. Huge third period coming up for the Preds. Can the third and final period be a huge motivator that will carry the Preds to a clutch win in this one? And I do have to say, as I say this tongue firmly planted in cheek, I appreciate the ESPN Plus crew reminding all the viewers that the Preds had given up a 2-goal lead in 2 of their last 3 games as a third period is about to commence. And I retort right back to the TV, even though I know they can't hear me, but just to express my frustration. Maybe some of you did this as well. I shouted back at the TV. They didn't do any of those 2-goal lead giveaways in a third period, guys. Every fan wearing gold in attendance, yeah, there's a few wearing blue, and we'll get to one of them, holding their collective breath, but they can see the end in sight. And just over 4 minutes into the third period, easy looking play it would seem for Torrey Krug as he tries to clear. I don't know what the heck he was doing. Puck is turned over to Keith Sherwood, who keeps it in. He gets it over to Big Sexy, and Big Sexy, even though this game would get a little closer for our liking later on, closer to the finish, he says, nope, I'm putting this one out of reach. He waits and he snaps it past Binnington, giving the Preds what you would think a comfortable 3-goal lead, now up 4-1. And I don't know how many of you in attendance who were paying attention to the Jumbotron saw it in a moment. Most of us watching the game on ESPN Plus showed it just under 4 minutes into the third period. During a stoppage, ESPN Plus noted that on the Jumbotron, they panned to this fan who, when he got on a Jumbotron, unzipped his jacket and revealed a Blues jersey, and the camera quickly pans away. Well, guess who the Jumbotron went right back to after McCarron, moments later, got the insurance call. And props to the guy who took his medicine like a good soldier and didn't shy away from going from happy to sad. Just over 6 minutes into the third period, Preds have a 3-on-1 on Binnington, looking for the death blow, but Jordan keeps his Blues in it just a little tiny bit. Moments later, almost 6.5 into the game, Jake Neighbors on a 2-on-1 keeps the Blues in it as he snaps it, beats Saros, short side. Preds lead reduced to 4-2. Just over 7 minutes into the third period, these two teams continuing to have post-whistle words and skirmishes with each other. And in this situation, Lazon and Robert Thomas are both sent off. And during the 4-on-4, about 11 minutes left to go in regulation, and the Blues are pulling Bennington now. The Preds have free range, even though the Blues are trying to have the man advantage. I was like, just shoot, get the puck and shoot, put this thing out of reach. And unfortunately, they don't. The Blues don't score with the man advantage, but the Preds are still only up by 2. 9 minutes left to go in regulation. Blues season hanging in a balance. Preds can see the end in sight. They want a break from this stress that they have been feeling since last Thursday's blowout in Arizona, the loss in Denver, and then last Tuesday against Boston. Blues, you got to think as time is ticking away, are going to want to pull Bennington. Their season hangs in the balance, but the Preds doing well to, even if they don't score, keeping the puck, keeping the pressure in the Blues zone so they can't pull Jordan. Preds tiring out the Blues, draining them of any remaining energy that they might have. Their season on the line. Bennington is called to the Blues bench under 4 minutes left to go in regulation. Now, Preds trying to whack, ticking time off of the clock, trying to whack away at their magic number to get that playoff spot. In the Preds zone, Roman Josi, pretty clearly, I would say, and I know fans in attendance and ones watching on TV thought so too, that Roman Josi was boarded behind the Preds net. No call. Oh my God. And eventually the Preds do get a clear, are able to get a line change, but then eventually the play is whistled down and a penalty is called. Lazon goes off for tripping, and as a captain he can argue with a penalty, and he's not so much arguing about Lazon's penalty, but it's like, do I not get a reputation call? Where was mine? How could you miss that? And sure enough, just about 2 minutes and 15 seconds left to go in regulation, the Blues get one step closer as we clinch our butts and hold our collective breath. Jordan Kyrou reduces the Preds' lead to 4-3. So, off of the faceoff, Blues come back to the Preds zone, and about 20 or so seconds after the Blues had reduced the Preds' lead to 4-3, puck is cleared out of the Preds net up to number 9, who is ticked off for his captain for the miss call. He reaches the puck before any Blues can. He skates it in to kill up a little more time off the clock and says, Blues, your season is finito. Finished. Done. Puts his second of the game into the empty net. His 43rd of the season. He now ties Matt Duchene for most goals in a season as a member of the Preds. Preds lead 5-3. Certainly, that's got to be it. Then with 45 seconds left, Phil Forsberg gets called for hooking. Yeah, it was a legit call. But for good measure, just over 30 seconds left to go, Blues on the power play with the goalie pulled. Mark Janikowski puts any end in doubt out of reach for the Blues. His 7th of the season, a second empty net goal, puts this game to bed for good. Preds win this one 6-3. See, Preds Nation, didn't I tell you after the Bruins loss that this was going to be okay? This team was going to be okay. I told you, didn't I? For any of you who doubted me, I would appreciate in the comments, Johnny, we're sorry, or you can tell me on Twitter. Preds take a whack at the magic number, reducing it from 8 down to 4 because the Preds got 2 points and the Blues lose out on getting 2 points. Wild lose in regulation to Colorado, so I really shouldn't have to address them anymore. They can basically bear a chance at catching the Preds. The Preds also, I think, with 6 games remaining and the Jets having 6 games remaining, lost out on their chance to probably climb into 3rd. I don't see them being 6 points back of the Jets climbing up there unless the Jets totally collapse. So that might be lost. But hey, the Preds did what they had to do and help their own cause. Now, as for the upcoming schedule, I think if the Preds play their cards right and play up to their capabilities, the magic number at the end of Sunday night's games could be down to as much as 1 or maybe even clinched. As for the Preds' upcoming schedule, they will be in Long Island Saturday night and then will be playing the Devils Sunday night. No flight needed. That's basically a bus trip, so no reason for flight to be a reason that you might be tired. You should be well rested. And as for the Blues schedule, they are in San Jose Saturday afternoon. Yeah, you would think St. Louis would want a measure of revenge after losing to the Sharks last Saturday 4-0, and then they go into Anaheim. Those games aren't necessarily a lock for the Blues either. We'll reassess come Sunday night to see what the Preds have left to nail down a playoff spot, hopefully, and start, managing the roster with the remaining games. Hopefully having a spot clinched so you can give some guys some much needed rest before this team plays the second season. So with all that being said, that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching as always. Hit like if you like this video. Click subscribe if you really like it. You can find my social media and interact with me during every Preds game by clicking on a channel name. Tell all your friends about Redemption, and let me finish this Preds fan reaction video by giving a little love to the Blues. If anybody sees that Blues fan out on Broadway tonight or tomorrow at the airport going home, unless he actually lives in Nashville, give him a hug. He deserves one for being such a good sport with the Jumbotron.